Welcome to the world of Wartonno, your gateway to the mysterious realms of dark ambient music and the stories that bring them to life. Every time, we uncover the haunting narratives, forgotten places, and enigmatic worlds that inspire these immersive soundscapes. Join me as we explore the depths of sound and story, where music becomes a portal to the unknown.
All right, so get ready to dive into a genre that's all about the power of sound. We're just talking about dark ambient music.
Yeah, it's definitely a fascinating area to explore. You know, you'd think music labeled as dark would be like the last thing people want to listen to, but it's about way more than just like being spooky, you know?
It really is. It's about the atmosphere. It's about creating a world in your head, which is what makes this deep dive even more interesting. You sent us some of your own writing, remember? About that place, the Hollow Core.
Oh, right, yeah.
And let me tell you, it's practically begging for some dark ambient background music.
I'm always interested in how sound and place kind of like intertwine, especially when we're talking fictional worlds. What's the story behind the Hollow Core? Just the name is already giving me the chills.
Oh man, wait till you hear this. So picture this. A desolate frozen planet called Nix 17. And deep inside, there's this city buried called the Hollow Core. And they built the entire city around a molten core, volatile one at that kind.
Oh, wow.
Humans and their ambition to mess with geothermal energy.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster, trying to harness the core of a planet. What could possibly go wrong?
Exactly. And something definitely went wrong. We're talking a massive, catastrophic failure. There are whispers, right? Whispers of strange entities, reports of people losing their minds. And then silence, complete silence.
Wow, that's eerie. That sudden shift going from all this activity to just complete silence, that's a powerful image. You can practically hear the emptiness just echoing.
And that's where our friend Dark Ambient comes in. You're descending into these tunnels, everything's echoing, and there's this faint, almost unnatural glow from the core, the only light source. The city's frozen, stuck in time, and full of these unanswered questions.
It's like the silence itself becomes this character, like full of potential, but also kind of menacing. And, you know, there's actually a Dark Ambient track out there called, get this, The Hollow Core.
Get out.
Directly inspired by this story.
No way. So they took that silence, that feeling, and turned it into music. Talk about art imitating life.
Exactly. And they absolutely nailed the atmosphere. I'm talking deep rumbles, bass lines that make you feel like the planet itself is groaning under this abandoned city. And then there are these metallic sounds, kind of distorted, just weaving through it all, like broken machines trying to sputter back to life.
It's amazing, isn't it, how certain sounds can tap into something almost like primal in us, you know, this deep-seated unease.
It's those low-frequency drones, man, that get me. They're in a lot of dark ambient music, and they just create this sense of immense weight, isolation, like you're trapped down there with only your thoughts or whatever else might be down there in the dark.
Okay, now you're just messing with me. But seriously, those little touches, like those machinery noises fragmented and ghostly whispers, it's like the city itself is trying to tell us something, to tell us what happened.
And that's the genius of dark ambient, you know? It's not just about like throwing in spooky sounds for the sake of it. It's about the power of suggestion, letting your imagination fill in the blanks, which honestly can be way more effective and way more unsettling than any straightforward explanation.
Oh, absolutely. The things our minds come up with are way scarier than anything a composer could dream up. But you know what I'm curious about? We've been talking about how unsettling it can be, but some people find dark ambient relaxing. How does that work?
It's like, you know how some people find comfort in horror movies?
Right, yeah.
It's about exploring those darker emotions, but in a safe environment. And musically, the minimalism, the repetition, the slow tempos, it can be kind of hypnotic, actually.
It's like finding beauty in unexpected places, huh? Even in darkness, like you said. And the lack of lyrics is a big part of it too, don't you think?
Absolutely.
It's just you and the sound. No words to get in the way.
It's true. Dark ambient often uses sound as its own language, letting you connect with the emotion, the atmosphere, without any verbal distractions. It bypasses your logical brain and goes straight for the gut, for lack of a better term.
Like a direct line to the subconscious,
Yeah.
responding to things on a deeper level.
Exactly. And speaking of that subconscious response, let's talk about how these techniques actually work within the narrative of the Hollow Core. Those deep rumbles, right? The ones we talked about. They're not just there to sound all ominous and stuff. They're actually mimicking the space, you know? Those vast echoing tunnels under the city.
Wow. It's like the music is actually giving us a sense of the acoustics down there. That's incredible. I can practically feel like the weight of the city pressing down on me.
Right, and then you've got those warped metallic sounds layered on top of everything. They're not just there for a creepy effect either. They represent the tech, all that failed technology, that machinery that powered the city, but also ultimately, led to its downfall.
It's like those sounds are telling us the city's tragic backstory, hinting at the hubris of trying to control something so powerful. It's subtle, but man, it's effective.
It's all about using sound to tell a story, but through suggestion, through subtext. You become like a sonic detective, right? You're piecing together this puzzle guided by these little audio cues.
Composers, like a sonic architect, building this entire world through layers of sound, and we, the listeners, get to explore it. But it makes you think, this whole idea of sound as storytelling, it makes you think about those soundscape albums, the ones trying to capture the feeling of a real place.
It's a natural progression, right? If you can use dark ambient to make a fictional place like the Hollow Core come alive, why not do the same thing with real locations?
Exactly. The possibilities are endless, really. Think about it. Abandoned factories being taken over by nature, forgotten subway tunnels under a city, even just the vastness of space, the silence of night sky. All these places have stories, have atmospheres that dark ambient could just amplify.
Every environment has its own sonic signature, We tend to think of music as a form of escape, but with dark ambient, it's more like exploration. It's like the sonic magnifying glass, helping us find what's already there, what's extraordinary in the ordinary.
Or even that unsettling beauty we talked about, the kind you find in the mundane. It's almost like you're teaching yourself to listen to the world in a whole new way.
Exactly. Instead of just hearing noise, you're listening for the story behind it, for the emotions it triggers, finding those hidden layers of sound that, normally we just miss.
Which brings us back to the Hollow Core. We talked about how it uses sound to build atmosphere, to tell the story, but is there something more to it? Does it ever go beyond just being unsettling and become, truly terrifying?
See, that's the beauty of it. It's all subjective. What freaks one person out might be captivating to someone else. It all comes down to your own relationship with darkness, with the unknown.
So it's not just about the sounds themselves, but what those sounds evoke in you, the images they create. And with the Hollow Core, those images are pretty, vivid, to say the least, especially when you think about those whispers, those ghostly whispers.
Yes. The whispers, subtle, almost like they're not even there, but they are. Are they the people who used to live in the city? Or something else. The track doesn't tell you, and for a lot of people, that makes it even more effective,
It's like the music's asking you to come closer, to explore the darker parts of your imagination, to maybe even face some fears along the way. But it's funny, even with all this talk of darkness and fear, there's something kind of alluring about dark ambient. Wouldn't you say? It's like we're drawn to those shadows, even when we know they might hold something unexpected.
It's primal, I think. Humans, we've always been drawn to mystery. To the unknown. Dark ambient gives us a way to explore those shadows, to feel that thrill, but safely, without actually being in danger.
Yeah, it's like we're hardwired to be curious, even if something's a little creepy in dark ambient. It lets you explore that, but through sound, so you don't actually have to go to a creepy abandoned city or anything.
Right, exactly. It's like a controlled dose of the unknown, from your headphones. You get to decide how deep you go, how much you want to let those sounds wash over you.
Each track is like its own little world, just waiting to be discovered.
Yeah.
And you don't need a map or anything, you just have to trust your ears, your own interpretation.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most important thing for someone who's just getting into dark ambient to know?
I think the biggest thing is just to keep an open mind. Don't be put off by the dark label. It's not really about being scary. It's about creating an atmosphere, an experience, using sound to bring out emotions, tell stories, take you somewhere else, even if that place is only in the music.
It's like we've been saying, it goes way beyond that first listen.
Yeah.
There's so much to unpack, so many hidden details. It's like a sonic scavenger hunt or something.
Absolutely. And the more you listen, the more you pick up on the little things, the nuance, how these artists can take sound and make these really vivid soundscapes,
Speaking of vivid, I gotta ask, anything in the Hollow Core specifically that stood out to you musically? Any moments that really gave you chills?
There's this one part near the end where all these high metallic sounds, they kind of shimmer and echo. It's almost like they're mimicking those ice crystals you were talking about, reflecting light in that frozen city. It's such a small detail, but it adds so much to the atmosphere. You really feel like you're in this cold alien world.
It's those little touches, right?
Yeah.
the sonic equivalent of show don't tell. Instead of just saying, hey, it's cold and desolate, the music makes you feel it, like, deep down.
That's it. That's what makes dark ambient so powerful. It's not just listening, it's experiencing it, letting it just wash over you, take you to another place.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the hollow core, what's the one thing you hope people take away from this?
I hope it makes everyone want to listen to the world around them a little differently. There's so much beauty out there, even in the unexpected places, even in the darkness, you know?
Beautifully said. And if sound can be this powerful, enough to bring a fictional city like the hollow core to life, imagine what sonic stories we could find just by opening our ears to the world around us. Until next time, keep exploring, and don't forget, a good soundscape can be really powerful.
Thank you for tuning in to the world of Wartonno. We truly appreciate you joining us on this journey through dark ambient music and the stories that fuel its creation. Stay curious, and we look forward to exploring more mysterious worlds with you next time. Visit wartonno.com for more.